We miss last year's gorgeous OLED screen, but Lenovo's Refresh ThinkPad X1 Extreme remains a top choice for creative pros. If we hadn't just reviewed the latest Dell XPS 15 OLED, we'd be raving about the Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 4. The brilliant OLED display was one of our favorite features of last year's X1 Extreme Gen 3. The new Lenovo swaps the familiar 15.6-inch diagonal and 16:9 aspect ratio for a 16-inch panel with a slightly taller 1610 profile, but unlike with the 1610 Dell, Lenovo doesn't offer an OLED version, just a choice of 3 IPS screens. That's disappointing in a premium laptop, but the X1 Extreme is still a sleek, loaded speedster that will tempt execs seeking a deluxe desktop replacement. Lighten up. Alloy and carbon fiber like rivals including the XPS 15, the 16-inch Apple MacBook Pro, and the Gigabyte Aero 15 OLED XE. The ThinkPad X1 Extreme is an elite laptop for digital content makers who don't need the independent software vendor ISV certifications of a full-fledged mobile workstation. It's not cheap, but even the base model has an 8-core, 11th generation Intel Core i7 11800H CPU and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3050 graphics. Our $2,498 review unit keeps the system's 2.3 GHz processor and 2560 by 1600 pixel non-touch screen but steps up to 16 GB of RAM, the 512 GB PCIe 4.0 solid-state drive, and NVIDIA's 6 GB GeForce RTX 3060 GPU. You can escalate to a Core i9 11950H, 64 GB of memory, and to 2 TB drives as well as a 3840 by 2400 display with 600 nits of brightness, available in touch or non-touch flavors. The X1 Extreme Gen 4's aluminum alloy bottom and carbon fiber top cover wear the same matte black hue and have passed the same LSTD810G tests for shock, vibration, and environmental extremes as other ThinkPads. At 0.7 by 14.2 by 10 inches, it's slightly bulkier than the Dell XPS 15 and Razer Blade 15 Advanced Edition, but a bit lighter at 4 pounds to the Dell's 4.3 and the Razer's 4.4. Medium thick bezels surround the screen, making room up top for a webcam with a sliding privacy shutter. Our Extreme didn't have the optional face recognition camera but had a Windows Hello fingerprint reader integrated with the power button. The latest Wi-Fi 6E joins Bluetooth 5.2 wireless. The spec sheet lists 5G mobile broadband as an option but I didn't see it in the online configurator. Except for an audio jack, the only ports on the XPS 15 and MacBook Pro are USB-C Thunderbolt ports. The Lenovo has two Thunderbolt 4 ports on its left flank, but you'll also find an HDMI port there, so you can plug in an external monitor without needing the DisplayPort dongle. Two USB 3.2 Type-A ports, one always-on join and SD card slot and security lock slot on the right. Memo to other manufacturers: copy this keyboard. Laptop keyboards don't get any better than the ones you'll find on high-end Lenovo ThinkPads. The X1 Extreme's keyboard has the familiar ThinkPad layout with home and end keys on the top row and page up and page down at bottom right. The top row shortcut keys let you place and end video calls, as well as adjust volume and brightness and toggle airplane mode. The footnote and control keys are arguably in each other's places at lower left, but you can swap them with the supplied Lenovo Vantage software. The backlit keyboard has a snappy typing feel. It wants a slightly harder touch or firmer grip to avoid missed keystrokes than I'm used to from my Logitech desktop keyboard, but it is quiet and comfortable. There are two cursor controllers. Lenovo's trademark TrackPoint mini joystick embedded in the keyboard with 3 buttons below the spacebar plus a good-sized touchpad that takes just the right amount of pressure for a quiet click. The screen offers plenty of brightness, with pristine white backgrounds and excellent contrast. Viewing angles are broad, and fine details and the edges of letters are sharp. Colors are rich and well saturated, maybe a touch duller than the vivid hues and darker than ink blacks of an OLED panel, but about as good as an IPS screen gets. The webcam offers 1080p instead of the usual, minimal 720p resolution. It captures well-lit and colorful images with almost no noise or static. Speakers flanking the keyboard produce loud and clear audio, with a surprising amount of bass and virtually no distortion. It's easy to hear overlapping tracks. Dolby Access software offers music, movie, game, voice, and dynamic presets and an adjustable equalizer with surround virtualizer and volume leveler. The above-mentioned Lenovo Vantage handles system updates and WiFi security as well as device settings. The ThinkPad X1 Extreme Gen 4 is a sensational desktop replacement for power users. It barely misses an editor's choice nod, mainly because its competition is so formidable. The Dell XPS 15 is nearly flawless, and the Gigabyte Aero 15 offers an OLED display for hundreds less. But if you're shopping for a first-class creative platform that can double as a gaming laptop or workstation, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't include the Lenovo